Hi.
Grandpa.
Hi there.
How's it going? This is my wife, Kelsey.
Hi.
There.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Better circumstances.
Your mom said you'd been in.
Hi, Grandpa.
Said you had been in
My goodness, you're so bad.
Boise.
Yes, yeah, we stopped to see Sarah and spend
Yeah,
some
we're
time.
due to go over there Thursday for her hearing on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, Boise was a beautiful city.
We just came to talk for a bit, so while we were in town, figured we might as well stop.
Yeah, we're kind of concerned with all that's going on out here.
Well, I imagine so. So I figured I could fill in my details, and if you guys have any questions, I could talk about it. And I'm also, got some questions, so could just talk. Really.
Your grandmother probably does not want to take part in the discussion.
Well, I think Grandma should because she's my grandma. And I'll
Nice to meet you. I'm Kelsey. How are you?
I'll keep it fine, okay? I won't go into any details. I'll just
Because I don't know the details, dear.
right. And
I don't
Grandma, I'll
know.
spare you. It doesn't matter for you. I'm just here for my part, and my mom. I'm here about Sean. I'm here about everything. It's not. I come in peace, okay?
I hope it can go in peace because this really is hard.
That's what I'm here for, is to talk and
See,
Thank you.
well.
It's been a while since we visited. I think you came here with some friends last time.
Yeah, I did. I came up with Julie
oh,
and Matt and the dog. Grandpa, where this all started with me personally was when Michelle called CPS on my family again. And I thought, there's no way.
what's CPS?
Child Protective Services.
Okay.
And I said, there's no way that I'm gonna stand by and let that happen anymore. And then I got your letter where you said you were afraid of stepping in, and Sean literally beat the crap out of me to the point where I could have died.
I'm so sorry.
Pretty much my entire childhood. And everyone knew that Sean was bad. Everyone knew what he was doing to me. CPS was called on him. They came to get me in the middle of the night with Elijah.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm frustrated, and I feel like I'm owed some answers. I want to know why he's with my mom. I mean, he's to the point where if I see him, I'll probably kill him. Because he threatens to kill her and my sisters.
I've not heard that part.
He told Wendell that.
Oh, really?
And so it's just I don't understand. And then so I started going into this further, and everyone talks to me. Everyone. I know everything. Everything. I know literally everything because people talk to me. And because I care, and because at the end of the day, I do what is right. I do. And I tell the truth. And I've heard you've been telling people I'm insane. I'm not. I'm not insane. I've never been insane. I have 2 bachelors. I'm in my master's.
I haven't said that.
No, I've never said that. Who said that?
Well, more than one person has said that. You guys said you had to come home because I'm emotionally unstable, and
We had to come home because you made a complaint through Bishop Brunt.
Right, of course I did, Grandpa.
You reported to the hotline at the church.
Right, of course I did.
And within 2 days of when you did that, we were released from our mission and told to go
Right.
home.
We told you to pack up and get out of here.
And understandably so. And
Really.
And it's not my fault. You already told Mike everything, enough. It doesn't matter. You've called Debbie. I'm friends with them all. We've been visiting them all. I know what you did to my mother, Sarah, and why she's in prison. And
What did they do with them?
Sarah has told the entire family that, just like Michelle, that you had sex with her.
Oh,
They
heavens,
belong.
no.
Never.
Never.
Then why would
Never
Michelle
happened.
say that?
I don't know why Michelle...
And what about Delsa? What about Darla?
Well, Delsa and Debbie are the only ones that have had...
Okay, when I was
Michelle as well.
when I was 16 and 17, I had problems.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
and they did not go past age 17. I have met with Delsa, begged for her forgiveness, heard her side of the story. I did this in early 2007. And I visited with Debbie also and asked for her forgiveness. I haven't been given any forgiveness, but still I have asked for it. And as of right now, although Debbie shared a lot of stuff with you, Debbie does not want to prosecute me. She does not want to go back and dig up stuff that was 60 years ago.
Right.
And same with Delsa. Delsa wants nothing more to do with it. She said, because we've been through that, I've been through the repentance process.
Do you want me to call them right now? Because someone's lying and it's either them or it's you. I just had dinner with...
I talked to Debbie on Sunday.
I just talked to Debbie this morning, and I just had lunch with Delsa yesterday. And so I'm fully aware of where they stand.
I spent an hour and a half with Debbie, and Debbie told me that Delsa does not want to go.
So then why'd she talk to the prosecutor and give him 2-hour report if she didn't want to prosecute?
Well,
that doesn't make any sense.
She did this early on after you had made the complaint. Because the prosecutor called her. Mm-hmm. And so she told him about that, but she also told the prosecutor, I'm not interested in prosecuting Dan and trying to bring up garbage that has been dealt with already.
So why did Michelle reach out to me then and tell me this stuff? Why would Michelle tell me that? Is she a liar too?
Michelle is a very compassionate person.
Well, of course.
If you called her and asked her about her experiences in being fondled, then...
well, I mean, regardless, do you think that's okay to fondle your own daughter?
Hell no.
Okay, so why'd you do it?
It happened.
What do you mean it happened?
That was 1980.
And your sister, like, you full on had sex with your sisters. Like, that's not okay. Like, if that was my sister,
Okay.
I mean, you want to see crazy grandpa, like, have sex with...
No, that's the part I don't want to know.
Okay.
Okay, well, grandma...
Understand that I felt very bad about it. I confessed it to church authorities. And
When?
while I was on my mission in China.
You confessed it to them on your mission in China?
I did not confess it before going. I confessed it when I got there.
Grandma, I'm just
I could
frustrated
not-
because you've hurt a lot of people in my family. And you've hurt them, and most of all, what I'm frustrated about, I'm not even here about you. I'm here about Sean, about, like, why you guys never protected me.
Honey, I fully understand your feelings. I do.
Okay.
Let me finish. There was no such thing as the Child Protection Services. I was abused into my teen years by my own father.
Yeah, I know.
And it was very difficult for me to have Grandpa come and talk to me, but he was on his knees crying and begging for forgiveness.
And did you forgive him?
It brought back feelings of what happened with my father. But I said, I'm just of the opinion that I've made covenants with Grandpa, temple covenants. I do not break those covenants. And the Lord says, I will forgive whom I will forgive, but at man, it's required you all, that you would give all men.
Well, then you might want to talk to Sarah, because she tells people a lot different story about what happened. And I know, like, people just dismiss her as a liar. And I know my mom lies. I know. And I know she drinks, and I also know that children act out and people drink for a reason. Mm-hmm. Because I drink for a reason. Like, yeah, like, Grandpa's not wrong. For a long time I was drinking. I was upset because I had no family, because Sean and Becky literally destroyed me. Because Becky is a mean woman.
I'm really?
She told me she never loved me in high school until then. She told me I was too stupid for college. And then people want to sit around and wonder maybe why, I got a slow start to life. Maybe it's because they didn't send me to school. Sean was too busy literally beating me for being gay.
I hadn't heard that.
Well, I mean, the family knows he kidnapped me. That's common knowledge, is it not?
No.
I hadn't heard that.
I hadn't heard that. So we're here, see, all these stories are floating around.
And I'm here to address them.
Yeah, well, you're internalizing a lot of anger.
Of course I am. Wouldn't you be angry?
All of us have come out of damaged childhoods.
We all have a damaged child. I have a damaged child too. But I got to let go of it and get on with
But
my life.
but that's not how it works. Like, there's the justice system for a reason. I'm sure you know that the most fatal fatal mental health disorder is PTSD.
Correct.
Right, correct. So what is PTSD? It's reminders of trauma that you've been through.
Sure.
And so it should be really obvious to you why, like, Delsa and Deb and Michelle might feel that way. There's a reason Michelle's not talking to you right now. I mean, that's not for no reason.
I know that. She's had a nervous breakdown. I know that.
Right, but I mean, that's, you act like everyone has a traumatic childhood and they get over it. They don't. Michelle has been suicidal on and off her entire
Yeah, but
adulthood.
not just because of what happened between she and I.
But you don't think that, like, I mean, trauma is progressive. Trauma builds. It's complex. You get, you get,
But she's had other traumas in her life.
like what?
And when she had severe postnatal depression after her first pregnancy, and even worse after her second pregnancy.
And she has depression at different times of the year. Summertime you think
So
would be a
depression
good
is
time to be
something that
happy.
goes with her
It's not for her.
in
She
her
has
life.
depression in the summer.
Well, what started me in this in the first place, Grandpa, was me just, obviously people talk to me and I listen and I care about my family members, and I'm going to listen when I hear this stuff, and I'm going to approach it, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do to be an ethical person and make moral decisions and protect people. And so with me personally, like, I know my case isn't like the main case. Like, with you gave me an exam when I was a kid, and I asked Sean about it, and Sean said it was for sexual abuse. And that's what I've claimed this entire time, was that you performed an exam, and Sean said it was to make sure my hymen was intact, to make sure Sarah didn't sexually abuse me. None of her people. So that's what I came here to talk to you about.
Whoa, I never heard that.
I mean,
And I could have done an exam. I cannot remember.
but Michelle asked you guys, and it was confirmed, and she told me that it was confirmed by you guys this year.
She hasn't.
No, never said
She
that.
the term came to us that you fondled Sarah and inserted your fingers in her vagina.
And Sarah or me?
I'm sorry.
Nikita.
Nikita. And then inserted your fingers in her vagina.
For a medical exam.
I do not remember the exam. Okay? And as far as doing it for reasons of sexual abuse, never occurred.
But what I'm asking is just, I remember a medical exam taking place one night because Sarah had just crashed her car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's when it happened. She crashed her car a lot, and I remember doing this, and I remember what it was for, and I remember asking Sean over and over again what it was for. And he told me what it was for. So apparently he had knowledge, or else he was just making assumptions. But that's where I feel it's my right to ask questions,
Sure.
and it's my right to get the answers.
Well,
I have no memory of the event.
Okay.
Okay?
when did you have
and
this car crash, Sarah?
I don't remember. This event took place when I was 5, and Sarah crashed her car a few times, it sounds like.
I know that it was when you were little. Sarah, you were born in Greenville, and the lady that your parents were living with, and here your father was doing on the ranch, borrowed Becky's, saddle to work up there. That the lady called me. She says, "I'm really worried about this little girl,
Yeah.
my granddaughter. Sarah is neglecting her."
Right.
And so she said, I called in, I guess, the welfare and asked that they take you. And then they took her down here to Boise with Tom and Valerie. And they already had a little boy. And says, "We can't do this." And the lady, I don't know who this lady was, she says, "I'm really worried for your granddaughter." And then Tom and Valerie brought you over to me.
Yeah.
And I had just had this accident with my leg. I guess it was my knee.
93.
Yeah, with my knee.
Oh, okay, that was after that.
And so anyway, I went ahead and started feeding you, and your sweet little face looked at me, and I picked you up to hug you, and you were trying to feel. I felt like you were trying to kiss me on my face.
Yeah.
You were
Was
just.
that when she was just a little baby?
She was a baby. Yeah.
I mean,
Because I know she lived with us for
Well,
about 4 months when Becky lived with us.
Yeah, Becky came down in '93 with March when I had after that because I had that bad accident in that country in Yellowstone
Yeah,
Park.
and then 95, I think he started kindergarten, and I remember walking into the bus a couple of times.
And then we took you with,
And then in October that year, we took you to
was after Elijah was
Hector.
born. Yeah, we took you
Hector and pulled a trailer back there, and then your dad came with the pickup, or with the, whatever he had. I think it was a pickup at the time, but anyway, he came, that was in 95, October of 95, when you guys moved to Galesburg.
Yeah. And like, why you had no idea that Sean was abusing Becky or that she was in any kind of abusive relationship?
We had some information when they were living in Moscow,
Moscow, Idaho.
that Sean had been off the deep end and was abusing Becky, and we tried to find out about it.
Yeah, we got, when we were up there for the motorcycle rally up in Sun Valley, and not Sun Valley, Sunset, where Robert Redford was, anyway, with the motorcycle group, we got a call from the Relief Society president. It was in your mother and dad's ward.
Was that when they were in Moscow? Or was
Yes, and she said that they're living at this house with me, but I really worry about your daughter. But Sean had taken off with one of the girls and was gone somewhere else.
That's when he went with me.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, he took off with me and Elijah because Uncle Wendell was said he was gonna have CPS come or they were gonna come get us in the night, but Becky tipped Sean off. So he took off.
Sean tends to really tick off Wendell. They've never been able to.
Well, Sean ticks off everyone because he's insane. He's absolutely insane. That man is a danger.
Well, I always, I didn't know all of what was going on. I mean, the one time that you were still in, at the time Amalia was born, what state was it? What city was it?
Illinois. Yeah,
Okay.
Illinois.
Illinois. So I remember when she was born, and I was there and came and saw it was, and
We came back there 2 or 3 times.
So are you aware that Elder Mickelson is also, or that Elder Mickelson is a child molester? Were you aware of that?
No.
You had no idea. Yeah, he's a child molester, and his case is about to come to light as well.
our former state president.
Yeah, your former stake president.
Lynn Mickelson?
Yeah, he's a child molester. He accused his own granddaughters of being sexually inappropriate with him when they were just 6 years old. So he accused them first.
I don't want to hear about that.
And then I,
Oh, why not? He's in your church. He's active. Why don't you guys care?
we don't want to hear things that are not appropriate for us to hear, and it's not going to be helpful to you.
Oh, then how about let's talk about this. Ira Corey. Do you know who he is?
No.
The judge, the
Ira
justice of
Corey?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. He was the one that actually orchestrated my grandmother's child marriage. So I have a lawsuit against the entire Mormon church right now because my grandmother,
On the other side,
Yeah.
your dad's mother?
was sold as a child bride by the Mormons. Ira Corey, who used to stand out in his yard and show his penis to children, that man. And he was also a neighbor, so I found that really weird.
That's,
Ira Corey was a good man.
He was a good man who happened to sell my mother as a child, or my grandmother as a child bride. The same grandmother that you told at the mall would never see me again.
Shirley?
Yeah, Shirley. And you also cut my mother's milk in half because you didn't want a fat Native American child.
Heavens no, I never did
What,
that.
would you like me to call up about 5 people who can tell me that that's
I don't
true?
really have all this information.
Why are you digging all this crap?
Why? Because that's why my mom's in prison. Becky hated me, just like you didn't
Why
like
is
Sarah.
your mom in prison?
My mom's in prison because you had sex with her again and again.
Baloney.
It's true.
Baloney.
No, it
Baloney.
did not happen. Because your mother has told us the same thing. It never happened.
She told you the same thing?
that nothing like that ever happened.
So why did she tell everybody else something different?
I don't know. I just don't know.
And do you see where the credibility is gone because you used to rape your sisters when they were 8 years old? Do you see why maybe I'm inclined to believe my mother? And you know what happens to child rapists in prison?
Never happened to your mother.
But it happened to your sisters.
That was 60
That's
years
all
ago.
been taken
And then
care
Michelle, and that was taken care of
of.
again?
It was
25 years
also
ago.
taken care of.
No, that's not
There were
taken
two-
care of.
There were 2 episodes. I touched her inappropriately. I went to the
What
bishop.
about Delsa?
I also confessed about Delsa.
Ooh,
And he's been through 2
They
apostles,
all-
and they've already...
which apostles?
Elder Anderson, and before President Hinckley became a president of the church, Elder Hinckley, when he was on
Gordon
this
B.
mission.
Hinckley.
And what did you tell him happened though? Like I just don't understand how the Mormon church, like you guys are all okay with my mom being in prison for drinking and driving. Why do you think you shouldn't go to prison? What makes you immune to the justice system?
Statute of limitations.
There is no more statute of limitations, and
There certainly is.
Well, okay. There is. You're right. There is. But there's also
And
the
that
Supreme
happened when I
Court.
was a minor.
No, it
And then
didn't.
it happened again.
You were 19. It happened to Michelle. Fondling your daughter's breast is also not really normal. Trying to stick your penis inside of her is not
I've
normal.
not tried to stick my...
Yes, you did. You told this to Deb last night.
did
You told
not.
this to Deb. Yes.
I did not.
Can I call Deb then and let her know?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I told Deb that I had found her twice.
Okay.
She crawled into bed.
Then let's call Deb. We'll call her
Mother
right now.
was asleep in bed next to me, and Michelle called in and crawled in and cuddled up to me.
Well,
I did not have penile
Then we're
intercourse
gonna.
with her.
No, you tried.
I
And
did not.
You told this to Debbie.
I did not.
Hi, Debbie. Grandpa says he did not try to stick his penis in Michelle. Is that true?
He said he put it down there.
Yep.
I
And then,
put it between her legs. I did not put it in her.
well, that's normal, Grandpa. To put your penis between your daughter's legs is also normal.
Listen,
Yeah.
this has been
You talked about
confessed.
okay.
It has been handled. Michelle wants nothing else to do with
There
it.
you go, Nikita.
Okay. It hasn't been dealt with because you're not in
Let
prison.
your anger go. Your grandfather and grandmother love you very much.
This is what love is. Love is hearing your granddaughter express all of this hurt that she has gone through.
Okay, but that's not her hurt.
This
That's
is her
other
hurt.
You don't
people's
think I
hurt.
have
This is
compassion?
her hurt.
Oh, and we
It's
know
okay
you
to have
do.
compassion.
We
but
have compassion
you're,
for you.
You're accusing me of stuff that never happened, number one.
I'm not. I have accused you of nothing except performing an exam on me.
No, you're accusing me of never handling the repentance process.
You
These
handled the
things that
repentance
happen.
process. You didn't handle the judicial process. There's a difference.
There was
There's
not
a
a
separation
judicial
of.
process.
There is a judicial process
There's
for child
not a
rape.
judicial process for stuff that's 60 years ago.
Well, what about Michelle? That was 30 years ago.
That was 35 years
And
ago.
then you gave me this exam, which it did happen. So you did this to those. I mean, you had no right to give me that exam, and I want to know who consented for that exam.
Was it your
Probably
mother?
Sean.
It could have been. Did Sean consent to it? I don't know. That's what I'm here to find out. You
I don't
gave
know.
it. Who was my child? Who was my parent?
Those medical records are all gone.
Why?
I would have made a medical record on that.
Yes.
Because after 7 years of closing your office, you destroyed
Did you
your medical
suspect that I was sexually abused by Sarah? Right, by her crew, by whatever
If
happened?
your father came to me and said, has this gal been sexually abused by one of Sarah's partners?
Who said that?
If your father came to me and said, I want you to examine my daughter because I want to be sure she's not been sexually abused by one of Sarah's partners, and I may have done an examination on you. I do not have any recollection of that. That's a long time.
Well, I remember watching child pornography with my mom's crew. Like those people, whoever watched her, I remember having sex with men when I was a
But I have
child.
told your father there's no evidence of any bruising. There's no evidence of any penile penetration of the vagina.
And how
And
do you,
Nikita?
and how do you check for that though?
You look.
How do you know that a child has not been penetrated? I don't know. This is something
look.
you need to explain to me. This is what I'm here to ask. You look inside their vagina and then it says, how do you know? Like,
You look at their perineum.
okay, so they're hymen.
I don't think I looked in your vagina. I may have spread your labia and looked at the hymen. But you do not do finger penetration
No.
of the vagina.
So you just
You
spread
look.
my labia and you looked at the hymen.
look.
Okay.
So that's what happened in the exam.
Okay. Well, okay. So
If your father came insisting on that be done, I would do that and inform him there's no evidence of any penetration
Okay.
or bruising.
I just want to know.
Most people get bruised when they...
Okay, and then as far as my father, William, who's dead, there's you were the prescribing doctor for his medication. Were you aware that he
No,
was going?
I was not.
You weren't. Then how
I
come
was
your name
never
were on
his
the pills that he took?
I never provided any
Never.
medication.
Okay. Well, that's
As
all
far
I
as I
asked.
know, he never came to see me as a patient.
The only time he came once with Sarah, when he came back, when they went all the way across the United States and came back, and she was, they asked to have a pregnancy test, and it showed that she was pregnant.
Sarah, my mom.
Right. And so anyway, I mean, I guess she was about 17 then, 16, 17 years old. And anyway, this is a sorrowful thing
Yeah.
that you've had to go through.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, Grandpa. Even if my criminal charges don't go through, which they will, because I'll just appeal it in the Supreme Court, because the statute of limitation only allows abusers to abuse, because that's garbage. It doesn't matter when you got raped. It shouldn't matter. So.
In Idaho, it goes to age 19.
Well, they just appealed. They got rid of that in 2006.
No, they have not.
They did.
They may have done it. They may have done in Michigan.
No.
They
Look it
haven't
up.
in Idaho.
Have you looked up? Have you Googled the statute of
I talked to my
limitations?
attorney, and he says the statute of limitations in Idaho is age 19.
You talked to your attorney recently?
Yes.
Yes.
Last week on Wednesday.
Okay, well, I don't know. You should try just Googling this, because it will tell you that in 2006 the governor reversed that. It doesn't matter regardless.
Let me say this.
Okay,
The stuff that you're doing is damaging.
of course it is, and the stuff you did is damaging.
I admit that.
And I admit that what I'm doing is damaging.
I have confessed that with the proper authorities, church authorities, and I have been told to get on with my life
By them.
by them.
How recently did you tell them what happened recently?
1960.
But what about now? Have you talked to them recently?
Yes.
And what'd they say?
Well, the most recent thing that happened is we were kicked off our mission.
And they didn't tell you why?
They did not tell us why.
Then
So-
they said they didn't
I had
know
to
why.
guess. I said the only person I can understand that is nuts enough to do this.
Is me.
And
I'm the crazy one.
I didn't say you were crazy. I just said you were angry.
No, you told
had
people
ang-
I found this under hypnosis. I don't know where you got
I
that
said,
from.
I don't know how she came up with this. Perhaps she had hypnosis.
Why hypnosis?
Because hypnosis it goes into what are called repressed memories.
Yes, I know what repressed memories
Okay.
are. And so, like,
Well, you've studied
if they're repressed, that means they happened. So, unless I'm
And
confabulating this, which I'm not.
You may have had someone look at your vagina, and then you accuse me of sexual abuse as a result.
No. I accused you of an exam when I was a 5-year-old.
Okay.
That's what I
And
accused
it
you of,
may
because
have
that exam
happened.
happened.
As I say, I cannot remember.
I remember,
that
Grandma, because I
specific-
used to really care about you, and I used to love you, and you once told me that I would do something. I was brought to this earth to do something important, and that's
I'm
what
sure
it
of
is.
that.
Right.
And I have a letter. that
But it's
you
not
wrote
to put
and
me
you
in
said
prison.
2016,
Yeah.
September 10th, saying that you loved us.
I do love you.
Why are
Absolutely.
you so angry with us? You want to hurt us.
Grandma, this isn't hurting you. The only way that this can be right is for justice to occur. I would say
But
the same.
you're-
I prayed my mom would go to prison this last time. I prayed because she could not hurt herself or anybody else. Now, I know a man that has raped 2 generations of women does not just change. Like, it's like alcoholism. Like, I'm battling that every day still. I don't drink. And I'm sure you must battle inappropriate thoughts yourself, because they don't just go away. I mean, you were attracted to children. That doesn't just stop. Like, did you just pray for forgiveness and it went away? Like, I'm curious. I need to know this, because that's not how psychology works.
How does the repentance process work?
How does you being healed from being someone who abuses children happen? Like, how did you just get better? How do you stand in front of the Lord? What did you do that made this okay?
You spend a lot of time on your knees to start with and communicating with the Lord. You go to church authorities and you confess and take their advice.
So you trusted them.
For example, in 2006, when we put in first to go on a mission,
Yeah.
the papers were sent to Salt Lake, and at that time Mike called and said, there's something wrong in our family. There's some stuff that's buried and it's not been well handled and it needs to be dealt with so that we can communicate. I talked to a representative in Rexburg, and then he referred me to the representative for Idaho, who at that time was Neil Anderson in Salt Lake City, who was an apostle. Initially he was a 70 and then he was an apostle. And made an appointment to go and see him. And I says, this is what has happened in my past. I had written a letter to President Hinckley, and President Hinckley referred it to Brother Anderson to handle. And I admitted again everything that had come out years before.
What did you admit to? Like, what did they know? Were you honest in that letter?
I admitted to having intercourse with two of my sisters, and then in that same letter, I admitted to fondling my daughter, and inappropriately. And I said the first time I visited with President Hinckley and told him that I was very sorry for what I'd done, and I would go home and make things right as much as I could. And I was in Taipei, Taiwan at the time, 8,000 miles around the world. And Elder Hinckley said, write to your stake president and see what he advises, and write to your father and tell him everything that's happened.
Right.
And so I did. And we received replies from the stake president and my father to President Hinckley. And President Hinckley, when he returned on his next visit, says, I want you to stay here and complete an honorable mission. And so I did. I served there for 2.5 years.
So you feel like you repented and this is over with, and I'm bringing up and ruining your life over old stuff.
It was repented, and I was told that I could continue working in the church at that time. And then Mike brought it up again in 2006 as if it had not been handled. Now, my father knew about this, my mother knew about it, my stake president knew about it. And you know, my only question for Dad when I meet him is, why didn't you take your daughters who had been abused and help walk them through the process?
That came to my mind
Great-grandpa never dealt with it.
Why didn't you help Becky through the process of being abused? What about her?
What is that process?
Because you said you can't step in. So what about that process?
Well, I tried to step in.
Are you afraid of Sean?
Yes.
Sean threatened me.
With what?
Sean threatened me too, and I thought he was.
How did he threaten you?
I thought he was going to hit me.
I told him, I said, Sean, I think you have bipolar disorder.
I remember that.
Some of the things that you have done, and this is while you were living in Moscow. He came over to our motel at 2 o'clock in the morning and pounded on the door, and he says, I want you to know I'm not bipolar. And I'm not I don't want you to be my doctor. And I said, I have never offered to be your doctor, and I wouldn't anyway. And, you know, that was, I don't know what year that was.
I don't know, but he came another time to our house too, when we were
Yeah,
living on the river.
It was maybe in 2000.
And said the same thing. But you know, you just said, I really cannot be your position. I'm too close to the situation.
Yeah.
Because we're related, and I just think, but I think you,
And
if
in
you
his
have
way,
a
he
problem,
just
you
comes
need to go
back
find
and
your own physician.
keeps digging at you and niggling at you until you don't want to be a part of it anymore. And then when we heard from the bishop or whoever it was in Moscow that Becky was in danger, I said, should I come over and get her? Should I come over and pick her up with the children? And they went through child welfare authorities at that time and had a family evaluation done and actually had some counseling. And that all happened while they were still in Moscow.
Do you trust the prophet? Do you like him?
Absolutely. These are men that are without guile. They've never abused children.
How do you know that?
You just know.
You can't
I'll
trust
never be a
men.
prophet.
Humans are humans. Like, lie.
Are they perfect?
Yeah, no.
No.
So
Even
how can you
Joseph
just?
Smith wasn't perfect
So how do you trust that? How do you just trust that because you know somebody that they're not an abuser,
because I talked to the Lord.
and the Lord tells you that they're fine?
Well,
Lord, you get a feeling
witnessing
about
of
it.
the Spirit. As you know, you've been baptized and had to
Yeah.
get to the Holy Ghost. It will witness to you of things that are true.
Well, why do you think I'm here? The Holy Spirit did this. I'm following my patriarchal blessing by being here and bringing the truth to light, because a lot of people really didn't know in the family.
I know, and it's really
Well,
nice.
you sure made sure that everybody knows it.
Of course I do. I did. It'd just be like Jeffrey Dahmer on the
Deb and
loose.
her family were due to come up here a couple of weeks ago and spend 3 days and do a float on the river. And Deb couldn't come because her health is not bad. But her 2 daughters said, "Well, we're not going to go up there where there's a child molester."
And we've got
And,
another family.
Do you think that that's unjustified? I mean, you did
I'm
rape
not a
children.
child molester.
Well, you molested Michelle.
Well, that was long ago.
So you're healed.
I'm healed.
How? That's what I asked you in the first place.
I
How
went
are you
through the
healed?
repentance process.
But God doesn't.
multiple times.
God doesn't just take away. He doesn't just stop. Like you probably should. That's my brother.
Which one here?
My actual brother.
Alex?
No, Taylor. Yo, sorry.
I know.
He's embarrassed.
They've been sitting.
Hi there.
The restroom's down the hall, the second door to the right here.
I'm not here.
Well, are we gonna come to some sort of conclusion?
That's what I came here for. Is just like I wanted you to be honest with me about that exam, because I know what happened. I remember it taking place, and I just wanted to know from your perspective. You had a history of doing that with children. For me, I'm going to question it, Grandpa. I'm going to ask you what that exam, like it was a pure medical exam. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if Sean asked to be done, because you were in and out even with their family, then
Yeah.
you came back and lived with Sarah for a while, and then in Idaho Falls, and you were starting to go to grade school there
Yeah.
for a while, like around close to your 7, 8 years old. That I remember. But there were many times that I'd come to pick. You were at a daycare center and your mother was working. And I come back and find you telling me, "Grandma, I'm hungry. There's nothing in the fridge." And she had been entertaining somebody in her apartment. And there you were just wandering around starving, poor little thing. And so it was,
Why didn't you guys adopt me?
we were cautioned it's too hard. They had many people who were asking the same question. They said it's very hard to be a grandparent and the discipliner at the same time.
Right.
And they said we would advise you not to do so.
What about?
And probably because we were too selfish to adopt you. I know people who have adopted children, multiple people who have raised their grandkids. And we were at that time of our life where, when this was happening to you, where, that was when she was born,
1990, and we still had Michelle around.
Yeah, Michelle was the only one around.
And in school, and she was going to school. We could have done it,
When did
but
Shelley marry?
1996.
Yeah. So she was still there, and we were still trying to finish raising our family, and so we had asked other family members, Tom and Val,
Cindy and David.
Cindy and Dave, if they would consider.
We even took you to their places, and they said, "We already have a child of our own. We don't think we could take on a second child at this time."
So if you have nothing to hide, why won't you talk to Detective Albright?
We have.
To
our attorney.
For your
Talked to
attorney.
Detective Albright. And, I visited at length with my attorney, and my attorney told me, if Detective Albright calls, please refer him to me.
Right.
And I'll be glad to tell him everything that we know.
And what is that you know? Just everything you've told me?
Everything I've told my attorney everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we want to.
That you've been angry and you're trying to prosecute me for stuff that happened 60 and 35 years ago. And he proceeded to tell me about a couple of lawsuits that he'd had, one of which was
I'm sorry, I've not
One of
met
which-
you.
That's my brother. That's Taylor.
Hi there.
He's Taylor. He's William's other kid.
I'm fine, I don't shake hands. Sorry.
He's not a toucher.
Yeah.
Okay, I will
Sorry.
follow.
But anyway, that was my attorney's instructions, was that he visit with Albright and assure.
Well, that's wonderful on that side, but I also have a civil lawsuit against the church as well. So I mean, the public is gonna know. The public, the media knows. Everyone knows, and I'm gonna keep talking about it because I think it's really messed up how this family deals with abuse in general. I do.
Well, you're saying I'm messed up.
Who? You? No. I'm saying everybody in this family who knows about this stuff, who knows that Sean is evil and who knows what you did to anybody. I think everyone who has not said something and
I
come
don't know
forward.
that Sean is evil. I know that Sean has been very strict.
So you don't know that he's an abuser.
I don't know that he's
I don't know.
an abuser.
You
I
guys
know
just said you knew that
I know
too.
he's licked you.
He's licked me?
I know he's beaten you.
Beaten me.
Yeah, because you're telling us this. Yeah,
That's what you've told me.
Right.
and
And
I
you told me
don't.
that before. This is not the first time.
Think of the times we would come over and visit you when you were over in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The fun times we get together and we go to the motel and you come over and go swimming.
Yeah, I used to love you guys.
And we go and watch the TV or programs and we'd sit there and eat red licorice. Can you think of the good times?
Yeah.
Well, I remember those experiences. So,
I
but
lost all my experiences that you guys denied me of all my experiences of my granddaughter.
I'm sorry.
You guys kind of cut me out of her life, of being my good experiences from my granddaughter.
How does she fit in?
That's my grandma Shirley.
I'm Shirley. I'm
Oh,
Bill's
Shirley.
mom.
Oh, Shirley.
Yeah.
That's
you
where
guys
I
are
feel hurt. Because I didn't get to see her until she was an adult. I saw her once when she was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And I finally got to see her when she's an adult.
Yeah, and it wasn't anything
I
that
have
we
40-something
did.
grandkids. I have 40-something grandkids.
You guys called her
I have
retarded.
11. I have 11.
You guys have called my grandma Shirley retarded because she cannot read and write when I asked why
Oh,
she was.
baloney.
Yes, you did.
Oh, baloney.
I only think I met you maybe a couple of times.
I missed you once. I met you once when you was walking in the mall. I met him 3 times.
I think we came to
And
your
I was
home
in your
once.
house
never
a
did.
couple of times.
He was at my house a couple times, and you brought her to see me.
I really think I just gotta end this. This is
Okay.
this is
I have 11
ridiculous.
great
Wait a
grandkids.
minute.
What?
And I'm
Another
close
thing.
to every one of them.
We accept you for who you are.
What does that even mean? You don't. You already
That
told me
means
that
you're
I should be.
practicing in a gay lifestyle. If you
That's
want to
right.
do that, that's your
What does that
business.
have to do with
You're
anything?
practicing a pedophilia lifestyle. Like we're
Yeah.
accepting things.
Baloney.
We have a lot more to accept on your behalf than anybody
Baloney.
else's.
That's not
But
something.
I think we
they're
just.
both
I just think we
adults.
gotta.
That's not something that.
Okay.
I just want to say you guys are not my grandparents.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll see
we're
you
in no
in court.
blood. We're no way are we related. Becky was never a mother to me. You guys were never like good grandparents to me because you should have protected me. And
We didn't know about what was going on.
right. And just so you know that this is it. Like I don't want any more emails. I don't care. I think you're disgusting. I think listening to Deb talk about how she used to wash her vagina wash the Vaseline off her vagina after you raped her.
60 years ago.
That
Not
doesn't
the
matter.
point. It's like there
It
shouldn't
doesn't
be
matter.
a statute of limitations on that.
Sarah,
Yeah.
I'm not Sarah. You don't even know my no.
I'm sorry, Nikita.
No.
Nikita,
I'm
stop it.
You're wrong.
Nikita,
Vete.
Oh, dude.
stop this.
Fuck these people.
Fucking weirdos.